And we're back.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
More Final Fantasy V. We're ready to head into the Interdimensional Rift and work on concluding the game. This light looks very... Justin, I thought Yes, I think it is. Hello, Star! Welcome in. Good to see you. So, we left off. Here is our previous save. Here is our current save. This is where we left off last time. This is where we're at now. Ready to enter the Interdimensional Rift. I think what we'll do real quick... Oh, the fucking... Without the auto exposure, it is actually really dark. If I just up the exposure? Fuck it, just put it on auto. Never bothered with it before, why bother with it now? So before we do this, I will show you guys where we were grinding and what we were doing. So, when we left off, we were grinding in the Castle of Baal, in the basement, with the objet darts, which you encounter two variations of them. You encounter them in groups of 2 or in groups of 5. In groups of 2, you get 4 APB per battle. In groups of 5, you get 8. There is a better place to grind for APB, and it is this bottom square on the map, where there are 3 possible enemy encounters. There's Nyx, which is worthless. As you can see, 0 experience, 0 APB, 1480 gil. We can get more than that from anything else at this point. That's worthless. Don't even bother fighting them. Villia. This is what you want. This is a really dangerous enemy that has like 19,000 HP. As you can see, it does quite a bit of damage. What you want to do is equip somebody with Spellblade, use Break, there you go, and if it hits, it's an immediate kill. That is then 10,000 experience. And because we are freelancers, it will not show you what the APB is. It is 25 APB per kill. So it's the best way to do it. You'll need to pay a little bit of attention. Just so that you are... not getting killed, because it's a good... They do a good amount of damage. See, she did 2 hits, and that's about 1,000 lost for Krill and Faris. There's also one more encounter here, which isn't bad. The Jellyfish. You encounter them in groups of 4, and it's easy enough to kill them, just hit them with a Thundaga All. Bada bing, dead. And they are, I forget, they're either 4 or 8 per. I think 4, which, it's not bad. But the real goal is the Villia. That's 25 per, which is absurd. And if you're going to grind something like the last level of Red Mage or Mime, then that's what you want to be doing. Level 5 Death Dragons. Ugh. I don't want to do any of that. I am thankful, for the most part, that like Final Fantasy IX doesn't really require a whole lot of grinding. Do a little bit of grinding early in the game to make yourself a little more comfortable. What do? I grind with Zidane once we get to Lindblom, so that I have some weapon abilities. That's really it. Like I leave Lindblom with just Zidane in the party and grind some weapon abilities. And then for the most part, I don't think I need to grind again for the rest of the game. With this, I possibly don't need to grind. Klim brought up a good point in our private discussions of like, you can very easily forget just how brutal the final bosses of these games can be, like the earlier Final Fantasies. So grinding is a good idea, but for the most part, grinding in this feels more fulfilling for me. Because like I said way back when we were doing Digital Devil Saga, we're not grinding for levels, we're grinding for abilities. Like if you look at this, there's a 2-hour difference between these saves, and I've gained 0 levels. So everybody is currently as a freelancer. We have Monk, Thief, and Summoner mastered for everybody, which gives them the biggest stat modifiers they can have for all of their stats as a freelancer. We also have like various other things mastered for everybody. And for abilities, in fact, go back to jobs for a second. What do we have? We have cover, because freelancers gain access to all the innate abilities from jobs you've mastered as well. So we have cover from Knight, barehanded from Monk, though nobody is barehanded. Most importantly, everybody has dual wield from Ninja, just innately. So everybody except Faris is using 2 weapons. Everyone except Lena is using 2 weapons. Lena's only using 1, which is the Artemis bow, which is why she's in the background. What do we got? Shira Hidori for Samurai, Magic Shell for Mystic Knight, MP plus 30% from Black Mage, MP plus 10% from White Mage. Rapid Fire from Ranger, which allows you to attack up to 8 times. What it says is, like if we take a look, Rapid Fire, because we currently have it equipped here, perform 4 weaker attacks at once, but that's 4 attacks per weapon. So, Bart's is equipped with Excalibur and Defender, Lena has Artemis's bow, Holy Lance and Enhancer, Masamune and Sasuke's Katana. And what do we have? White Magic, Black Magic, Rapid Fire, White Magic, White Magic, Black Magic. Plus Spellblade. So 3 healers. Everybody can do big damage, and everybody can do big damage in different ways. So I think we're ready. Alright, let's go. Welcome to the Interdimensional Rift. So the reason we go with Freelancer here is because when properly set up, Freelancer is undeniably the strongest class. And its ability to use every innate ability you have without equipping them, plus 2 abilities that you choose rather than preset abilities, makes it the most versatile class. It is second only to potentially the Mime if you are willing to fully master Mime. Hello. Well, you know, it is the mandate of the Warriors of Light to prevent a world of darkness. Just as it is the mandate of the Warriors of Dark to prevent a world of light. There's a lot of talking for you to just run away. Oh yeah, I bought like all ethers as well. Because the Villiers give so much money as well. Like I'm currently sitting at 800,000, over 800,000. So we have like maxed everything except elixirs. Because elixirs are 50,000 gil. And I was like, you know what, I'm not going to burn through all my gil just to not even get 99 of them. So potentially the biggest weakness of rapid fire is that if you are facing a group, you do not target a specific enemy. You spread the damage out, which can be a positive or a negative. Especially if you want a specific enemy dead. However, with single enemies, you're going to demolish them. It's wonderful. I think this is one of the things that really makes Final Fantasy V so, like... I would argue, like, way more replayable than 4. I think 6 is replayable for the variety you can have, just because of the number of, party combinations you can have. Though that falls down by the end, and it's what I would argue that Final Fantasy VI's endgame is one of the least interesting. Because you're always going to be using everybody, because Kefka's Tower requires 3 parties. But Final Fantasy IV, you're always using a specific party lineup until the very final, like the very end of the game. Unless... Unless you're playing any version other than the original Super Nintendo release, in which case you can change your party at the end and play with whoever you want in the end, in the last dungeon. So Final Fantasy IV is very rigid, whereas Final Fantasy V is like the extreme opposite. It's very customizable, and the kind of things you can do with it, I think, makes it a lot more interesting to replay. In a similar sense to 6, until you get to the final dungeon. Although, mixing and matching the specific parties can be kind of interesting for the final dungeon of 6. I'm not equipping a blood sword. Fooled me earlier. I ain't doing that again. I do think, for the most part, the most interesting games in the series to replay are the ones that let you mix things up a little bit. Like, I think 7's main game is probably a little more interesting to go through than 6's main game for the most part. Because 7 very rarely has party requirements, so you can spend most of the game with whoever you want. I think it makes 9 a little less interesting for a majority of its game to replay than 7. Doesn't make them bad to replay, they're still great games. That's what was in that door. It won't let me play the piano. Okay, that's weird. Yeah, I think, like, rather than it being a point against the other Final Fantasies, I think it's a point in favour of 5. Explains why that pot was there. And so because of that, approaching specific scenarios with different combinations and setups in 5 can be really interesting. And it's a point that works in favour of 5 over 3, because 5 will let you get away with, like, almost everything if you play it smart. Let's not forget that battle I did earlier in the game where I struggled with it, and then I was like, fuck it, and just put on 4 Berserkers and won. It's the kind of thing 3 doesn't often let you get away with. And it's why 5 is absolutely peak for replay with that, with experimentation. And it is a real shame that they never did, like, another game like this beyond this. Something that expanded on 5 in the way that 5 expanded on 3. Because as far as the main series goes, the job system never really made a real reappearance. You could argue, like, 11 and 14, but, like, really not the same. Uh-oh. Oh, that's not good. What is it, holy? Yes. I feel like holy as an element has been nothing but trouble. Which is awkward considering, you know, how much of it... How many of the, the sealed weapons use it. What is it? 12 sealed weapons. I think 2 of them use Holy Excalibur and the Holy Lance. So that's 2 out of 12. That's 1/6. I don't recall if the Stage's staff does. Strengthens Holy Magic, it might. Yeah, that worked. Uh-oh. You see, like, here's definitely an example of the real problem with rapid fire. Because all of Krill's attacks hit enemies in the back row. Which means the damage on them is reduced. So rapid fire is great, it's not always the best option. Alright. Okay. That will be the exit. I feel like a really underappreciated element of the Pixel remasters is like absolutely the map. Alright. There we go. I feel like the map will be something I really appreciate when I eventually play through 4 again. Everybody who I wanted equipped with a ribbon has a ribbon. Because to equip ribbons, you have to master Dancer. You know what, let's equip Lena with a ribbon then. You know what, I forgot about the gold hairpins. No, let's equip Barris with the gold hairpin. Because these two are both the ones with black magic. Lilith Rod. Deciphered Way MP. Although not all that useful to me as an ability. Nice. Another enhancer. I could replace Excalibur with Enhancer. It'd be a downgrade, but... Let's get out of this area. We're almost out of this area. Presumably we won't be encountering the white mosses out of this area either. Or the white fungus. The white flames. I'm getting the names confused. Oh, that was just rude. Is there any other chests? Did I get them all? Yeah, looks like it. Hello. Oh no, Calofisteri. The most important thing right now is to see whether or not she absorbs holy. She does not. Kill her. Kill her now. Really not that impressive. Anyway. Onwards with our journey. Dragons? Holy should be really good for these undead monsters, though. Perfect. Oh. Level halving is such a nasty ability. I think, like, one of the main things that also people don't really take into account with it is level halving will also halve your stats. Which will include stuff like accuracy. The thing about all those gold needles. If I hadn't done all that preparation, this area could be really nasty for me. Particularly given the fact that we haven't seen a rest point or a save point since we entered the rift. Ah, shit. It's wild how many enemies in this game seem to absorb heavily. Alright. Why's the picture still have her dead? Alright, replace Excalibur with an enhancer. The Holy Lance with Titan's Axe. It's become too much of an issue. Like, too long of an issue. Oh, there we go. I was just talking about this. Use one of my 99 cottages. You know, it's a real good thing that there's a save point back there, because I'm pretty sure I know what that thing on the map is. And what I'm gonna do real quick is I'm going to re-equip Excalibur and the Holy Lance. And then you can have 2 enhancers, so only Bart's is doing holy damage. That way I can get around him if I need to. Omega. Omega, despite being a reskin of previous enemies, Omega's a fucking super boss. So we're going to walk around Omega. But I am actually going to do what I just did and have Excalibur and Holy Lance on Bart's there and 2 enhancers on Krill. That way, if anything's immune to Holy, I just don't use Bart's. Really wish you wouldn't do that. Yeah, so I feel like the fact that Omega is a super boss becomes immediately apparent by its opening attack being an attack that hits everybody for more health than they currently have. A panda? What's it with you guys and your really lame drains? Did he just double cast Protect? So stupid. Alright. Oh, well, there you go. And the difference there between this boss and that random enemy stood outside. I don't know what that's doing. Ah. What about the other books? 1,000-year-old book. From forth the roiling skies was loosed a vile beast devoid of soul. Omega was its name. The dragon Shinryu came upon its heels. Not even the legendary weapons 12 would subdue these evil creatures. Within the rift were demons interred, so should they remain until eternity's end, their names to stay unspoken ere more. So yeah, there's your super bosses. Omega and Shinryu. The Book of Magic Volume 14. The Secret of Giga Flare. When gathering power for this spell, one is rendered utterly defenseless for a moment. Casters be wary. Ninja. Oh boy. I do appreciate how each hit of rapid fire counts as removing one point of image. Hey Clem, you missed the Omega fight. Putting in work? Yeah. It was absolutely a fight for the ages. Housework? And thank you for the resub, Clem. 14 months. Wild to think I'm worth paying that. I remember this as that stage from Dissidia. It's actually a really cool battle stage. I never said I beat Omega. It's like, walked into the room, it's like, oh, there's Omega. It's like, you know, it's a good thing I just saved. Let me show this off. Because I keep forgetting this game has the, autosave. Thor's hammer. Deals damage when thrown. Yeah, so I keep forgetting this game has autosave, so it really doesn't matter anyway. So it was like, okay, let's show off Omega. And we went into the fight, and like, bear in mind how we've been dismantling everything so far. Like, we're really prepped for this. Omega opens the battle with Atomic Ray and kills everybody. And then we proceed to reload, walk right past it, and demolish the next box. Like, there's a really good point of showing just how brutal Omega is. Good Jimbo. Yeah, it's brutal, and bear in mind, like, everybody's equipped with Hermes sandals, so we've all got haste. Didn't matter, it got the first turn. Yep. Opening with Omega Ray before anybody could get a move while they're all auto haste. Hello? Yes. It's a weird way of saying sap. It's funny because it's like, oh yeah, this will be your burial ground. Cool, you got one attack. Thank you. Save point. Time to use one of my 98 cottages. Yeah, so like I showed off when we started this, like where the grinding had been prior to like this session after last session. Showed it off, showed off what we did, how to do the grinding and everything. Get out of my way. Oh no, the old man revealed his true form as a dragon, who then immediately died of a heart attack. How unfortunate for him. Yeah, so essentially, in a nutshell, the grinding I've done involved no level grinding. So we were still at the same level we ended last stream at. And we've mastered a few jobs. And we've gotten all of the innate abilities that Freelancer gains. So let's take a quick look. So we've mastered Knight, Monk, Thief, Dragoon, Ninja, Samurai, Ranger, Mystic Knight, White Mage, Black Mage, Summoner for Barts. Knight, Monk, Thief, Dragoon, Ninja, Ranger, Mystic Knight, White Mage, Black Mage, Summoner, and Dancer for Lena. Knight, Monk, Thief, Dragoon, Ninja, Ranger, Mystic Knight, White Mage, Black Mage, Summoner, and Dancer for Krill. And Knight, Monk, Thief, Ninja, Ranger, Mystic Knight, White Mage, Black Mage, Time Mage, Summoner, Dancer for Barris. Yeah, Mimic's right there. Dancer's really only been mastered so that they can equip ribbons. And then I remembered, like while we were going through the Interdimensional Rift, like, oh yeah, I have gold hairpins that I never used. So the only person even using a ribbon right now is Krill. So yeah, what we got is the stat modifiers for Freelancer from Monk, Thief, and Summoner, which are the highest stat modifiers you can have. Cover, Barehanded. This one has Sprint, Find Passages, and I feel like there's one other that you get from Thief as an innate ability. Shirahadori from Samurai. Oh, you get Counter from Monk as well. So the Freelancers automatically have Counter. Ninja, most importantly, gets Dual Wield. Ranger gets Rapid Fire. Mystic Knight gets Rapid... Magic Shell. Black Mage gets MP plus 30%. White Mage gets MP plus 10%. That stacks. Monk also gets HP plus 10%, plus 20%, and plus 30%. They stack. And that is all of relevance. So yeah, the Freelancers are just absurdly capable. Everybody's dual wielding except Lena, who has Artemis's bow. Bart's has Rapid Fire and Spellblade. Lena has White Magic and Black Magic. Krill has Rapid Fire and White Magic, and Barris has... Krill has White Magic and Rapid Fire, Faris has White Magic, Black Magic. Which is why I've given Lena and Faris the gold pins, because they both have White and Black Magic equipped. Lancer, you say? He opened the door, but he hasn't got hands. This thing has its own theme song? That was really good timing, Ali. Well, we killed Ali the Beholder. Yeah, for a second I was like, wait, what? Welcome in, Ali. Star is also here. I'm going to use one of my 97 cottages. Ali, we are currently showing off how you should be doing Final Fantasy V's endgame. I'm going to go and kick a tree in the dick. Well, didn't want that. Ali doesn't have makeup on. You just watch my face. Oh, that button doesn't work here. Huh. Odd. I'm not going to explain the grinding that we've done a third time. just rest assured, I am as prepared as I feel I need to be. We could be more prepared. I don't think it's necessary. And I feel like the way I'm dismantling all of these enemies speaks to that. I actually did a little testing, because you remember the Twin Lance? One of my favourite weapons, because it hits 4 times. Rapid Fire hits 4 times. Whatever weapon you have with it will hit 4 times. So with 2 weapons, Rapid Fire just gives you 8 attacks. Great. My thought was like, if I have Twin Lances, if I have 2 Twin Lances equipped, will that allow us to hit 16 times? It does not, which is lame. How is everybody doing? Ali, do not feel bad. I am also not wearing makeup. This is just natural. Ruby red slippers. Oh, they really want you to use Dancer here, don't they? How does it work around Twin Lancer? Twin Lancers? I assume it just counts as 1 attack per, or it has a hard limit of only hitting 8 times max. Oh no, it's Climbait. Am I poisoned now? I don't like that. Yeah, that's what I mean by Climbait. Honestly, a lot of it is just laziness. Like, I do not care. Like I said, I have the light. Like I said in like last night's stream, I have the light on like cold light, so like you can't see like how blotchy my skin can be sometimes. I have my hat so that I don't have to worry about the way my hair looks, because I don't like how my hair looks on camera. You're actually Asian? That's weird. Like, it's all really minor things, for the sake of not having to put any effort into how I look. What did I just get? I saw a sword. Ice brand, I'm not using that. I mean, I feel like you've missed the part about laziness. At the end of the day, I've said it before, I'll probably say it again multiple times. My stream exists as a platform for me to focus on video games. Now, you see, here's the thing. Cassandra wanted to live forever. I don't. Maneater. A knife that is effective against humans. Clem, type in... Somebody type in ! humans, please.
Humans.
Thank you, Clem. Yeah, I'm just here to play games, because I have, like, such difficulty focusing on playing games in my own time. Because I feel like oh, the door's locked. There we go. I feel like there's more engagement from me if the camera's on. Like, you can see the facial expressions and whatnot. I can do, like, various things, rather than always having to be talking. So you guys know that I'm even here, without the camera. I feel like the camera works better for the engagement. Like, otherwise, I would happily just be like, no camera, and just playing the games. Even then, I don't really even like the camera. But you get, like, minimal effort. I'm wearing a t-shirt. It is this way, isn't it? Yeah. It wasn't this way. I forgot where the dungeon is. Yeah, depending on... Is that extreme without a camera? Yeah. Like, depending on how hot it gets during summer, there's the possibility of, like, the camera coming off so that I can still stream, but, like, without a shirt. And, like, an ice pack just resting on my chest. Depending on how hot it gets. We'll see. We'll work out, like, what we're doing over summer. Use one of my 95 cottages. You said you were hot, they never look back. Nobody has ever said I'm hot. And I'm okay with that. Because I'm here for the games, not for other people's thirst. Oh, dancer! Yes, but you've also said you're not gay, so it doesn't really matter. The door relocked? We're taking the long way around again, guys. Yeah, I had to look at the stream deck. It was like, did that even play anything? And it was still there. Where did that woman go? Thank you, Ali. You can have a sound alert.
Yeah!
Excellent. Maybe at some point today we'll play a sound alert that we haven't already heard. You see, it means more coming from Ali, Clem, because Ali will actually appreciate the attractiveness of men, and you won't. No, if TikTok comes in and says I'm hot, it'll be even better. Clem, it was a kiss of death. Halicarnassus. I don't know, I'm not overly into Lady Kane. Did you appreciate my Lady Kane remark? Is that Mecha? I got rid of her, Clem. I think a Lady King is called a Queen. Anyway. I will not be deterred by whatever thoughts they send at me. Is that a Kangaskhan? Some kings are women. Yeah, that's very fair. Like, that is a queen. There's a specific term for a female ruler, and it's a queen. I'm gonna fight Kangaskhan now, guys. Oh shit. I didn't expect it to do it twice. Okay, auto battle is a bad idea, guys. So it's going to counter every attack with Tidal Wave. Don't auto battle. I'm going to enchant my swords with flare. You know what we haven't seen? Flare. That was underwhelming. Oh shit. That was underwhelming. Thank you, Shell. What do we got? Ali is a short king, yeah. Whatever she wants to be. Queen is a band, yeah. Somebody in this fight was dreading the fight. I feel like I've now dismantled this fight using the power of Shell. We also haven't seen Holy, so let's see Holy. That's good damage. Yeah, I think the craziest thing about all of this, generally, has been like how absurdly effective Shell is. Yeah. So it went from being like, oh no, his counters are a problem, to I've just cast Shell on everybody and now we have no concerns. Bitch. Thank you. Like, seriously though, it has been absurd and continues to be absurd just how effective Protect and Shell have been in this game. I don't think they've ever been more effective than this. I did not agree to go to the lunar subterrane. A king behemoth? Dick. Don't worry, I'll take care of the alley behemoth. It's dead now. Everybody's safe. A Puma Shuriken. AlphaGo. Yep. You can really tell this is a classic Final Fantasy final dungeon. Because, like, look at how much health these enemies suddenly have over the enemies from the Interdimensional Rift. Gilgamesh, my boy! Where's all the talking? There we go. Gilgamesh, my boy! I did. I said Gilgamesh, my boy! Oh, just go back to where we came. Yep. Yeah, I can really hear the high wind theme. Goodbye, Gilgamesh. See you in Final Fantasy VIII. What a cool character. I hope we see him again. Another Puma Shuriken. AlphaGo. Yeah, Gilgamesh is great. He's such a fun character. This is a weirdly triumphant final dungeon piece, though. Chimera reskin. I'm fine with having played 8 on stream before 5, because we got 8 before 5, so it recreates our experience. Mind Flayer. Right, you guys are having too many turns here. So presumably, Mind Blast is a counter attack, and because they count each weapon as a separate attack, that's 2 counters per. Blast it, Clem. Okay. So the smart idea with these is clearly to focus attacks on individuals rather than spreading them out. That's right, I am a strategy genius. Mind Flayer? Ah, shit, the Absorb Holy. I said it before, but like nobody was really here when I said it. It's kind of embarrassing how many enemies in this game absorb Holy. Given that 1/6 of your sealed weapons are Holy Elemental. Crystal bosses? Where? Monsters? Oh, fuck. Limit Shinru. Limit Shinru killed us. How long ago was the final... how long ago was the last save point? Like, it was pre-entering the Interdimensional Rift, wasn't it? Not the instant. It was pre-defeating Kangaskhan, wasn't it? Like, it was in the dungeon. So imagine you're playing any other version of this and you see that treasure chest. And you open that treasure chest. And you are now basically guaranteed to die. Like, at least Omega, when you see Omega, it's right after a save point and it's on the field. Yeah, pretty much. And bear in mind, like, you see just how absurdly overpowered we are generally here. And then open that chest. Here it is. So, like, it just isn't pleasant at all. Abusive Heaty VHZIZ. That looks like a bot thing. Like, if you're not a bot, welcome in. A crystal dragon? Yeah, like, you look at how, like, kind of crazy overpowered we are for this. And Shinryu just wiped us out. Bearing in mind, like, we got 3 shells off. And even with that, Tidal Wave still did, what was it, 4,000 damage? And Faris didn't have shell and it was 7,000 damage. So, like, it's pretty crazy. But you guys know my policy of dealing with super bosses in these games. I'm just not interested. We're almost at 1,000,000 gil. It said that that last one was the final floor. This is also the final floor. It is boring, like, I suppose that's the best way of putting it, generally, why I have such a big issue with it. You need to come on... I am the final floor, that's right. You need to come up with some, like, absolutely random nonsense strategy that is more often than not going to be really tedious to set up and enact. It's like, what, I think the only super boss in a JRPG that I've killed on stream was Ruby Weapon. When we were doing Final Fantasy VII, when we did the retranslation for it. And the strategy for that was Knights of the Round Mime. Cast Hades, Knights of the Round, Mime. And just keep that going. Was it mime? No, there wasn't a mime because there was just one character alive because it's Ruby Weapon. So it's like Hades, Knights of the Round, Hades to stop it. But you let it put its claws on the floor, then you use Hades to stop it, and then cast Knights of the Round like 3 times. And then recast Hades, and then Knights of the Round again. And over and over and over again until it dies. And it's like 10 minutes of just repeating that, and it's not fun. It's not fun, it's not interesting, it's not engaging. Never used Hades? That's fair. You see, you use Hades to stop. Use Hades to stop Ruby Weapon, because if you use Knights of the Round while it isn't stopped, it counters with Ultima, which you don't really want to deal with. So Hades, guarantee the stop, and then just keep around. When it breaks out of stop, recast Hades, Knights of the Round. And the ultimate problem with it the ultimate problem with it is just that it's tedious and it takes so long. Alright, we're playing it like this? Alright. Yeah, like, I'm not really even against super bosses. But I just think in RPG, they're too tedious. Meanwhile, in like more action-based games, I don't have a problem with super bosses if they have super bosses. Like we had when I did Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, I did the super boss that's in the game and the DLC super boss, and they were both really fun. They were really hard. They took me multiple tries, and they were really fun to fight. Remember this boss forever, and eventually you'll talk about it in some capacity. Alright. Alright. This is Necrophobe. Clearly scared of death. But yeah, more action-based bosses, a lot of fun. If I had the patience and I actually enjoyed the original Kingdom Hearts more, I would have probably gone for dealing with Sephiroth. That's right, bitch. Gilgamesh. Yeah, Gilgamesh. Don't worry, Gilgamesh. I'll help you. Gilgamesh, no! What a guy. Thanks to use one of my 94 cottages. He was my best friend. We'll see him again, Clem. In our hearts. People never played this game because Square didn't release it. Like, you consider the release points of Final Fantasy V in the West. You have the Anthology Collection on PS1, which came out in, like, 2001. Like, past the point where people were playing PS1. Most people were playing PS2 by that point. You have Final Fantasy V Advance on GBA, which came out in, like, 2007. Bear in mind, the DS came out in 2004. And then the mobile ports, which were ugly as fuck. And who really wanted to play them? Like, the Pixel remasters now, at this point, are the best opportunity people have ever had to play it because they're available. Every previous release of Final Fantasy V in the West has always been up against, like, real adversity. What a game, though. We have an ad coming up, so we're going to have to run this ad. I can't believe it's only been like an hour and a half of stream. It feels like so much longer. But we're going to run this ad, and then we'll be right back with more Final Fantasy V. We'll be right back. And we're back. I love the later renditions of One Winged Angel, but like, there's something about the original in its PS1 MIDI glory that just hits a little harder. Thank you. Thank you. People don't get off the knees for 6. I mean, again, like, probably a big part of that is 6 was just available. Like, people love going over the virtues of 6 because it was just available. And it's had more opportunities to be available. Well, part of it is, with the Pixel Remaster as well, is probably also, like, it's the highest number. So you would assume that it's, like, the best version of it. 6 is also the one that got the most attention in the Pixel Remaster. Like, 5 in Pixel Remaster has been great. 6, they put way more effort into, and you can see it. Again, I think part of that is because 6 and 4 were available on Super Nintendo in the West, so they're the ones that got the reputations as, like, some of the greatest RPGs ever. Yeah, pretty much. It's the reputation of them. Even when people talk about 5, it's usually like, oh, it doesn't have the same story beats as 4 and 6. There's always concessions made for what 5 is. Well, it's like I said when we started the playthrough of this game. Like, I'm not going to tell you 5 is better than 4 or 6. I'm just going to tell you that 5 is absolutely worth your time. And it is. Like, now here we are at the end, and it has absolutely been one of my favourite games to stream. Exdeath. The Void. Let Clem tell people 5 is better than 4. You can't trust Clem's opinion because Clem hates 6. It's like, I'm not going to tell you 5 is better than 4 because you can't trust my opinion on 4. Oh my god, you're a tree now. Your opinions are solid. I feel like you're bad. I feel like you're biased, Clem. No, not the unnamed Windrake. Boko, no! Wait, Boko isn't there. Coco's there. Coco, no! Name a bad opinion you have. Sid, mid! Do we have any other friends? You know, I feel like we should have done a little more than just stand there. Like, maybe cast Faraga on the tree. Father? Helga? Zizat? He could have an easier name to pronounce. Gullif. Son, I've returned with the milk and my cigarettes. If there's one thing to take away from this playthrough, Ali, it's that 5 is absolutely worth your time. The Dawn Warriors. This smug motherfucker. One day you'll get it on Steam. Because Exdeath, the power of the void is nothing compared to the power of friendship and theme music. King Tycoon? The secret 5th Dawn Warrior? Bye. Just kidding. Ah! Humans were soil for cars. Alright, here it is. You know what? You know what a tree's probably weak to? Fire. Oh no, not the white hole. Oh my god. King Tycoon, we seem to be having trouble. Oh no. It's a good thing Krill still had that ribbon on. But hey, remember when you killed her grandpa? She's not happy about that. Can I pull this back from the brink? Will this be the greatest turnaround in mecha-chrono history? Yeah, I do like that Exdeath's arm is still visible at the top. It's a really cool design. But then you've got the visible face of hatred there as well. In the tree. Exdeath was engulfed by the void. Goodbye, Exdeath. Goodbye. Goodbye, Exdeath. Yeah, but I also like the turnaround that if you've gathered the 0 parts, 0 turns them and is like, fuck you, bullshit. Neo Exdeath. Here we go. Oh shit. This background is really making me uncomfortable. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, just hold on. If I can get the party back up, we can do this. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Alright. You know, it's a good thing I have 2 more ribbons. And it's the final battle, so I don't need to worry about conserving MP. Let's go kill that tree fucker. That might be the nastiest setup, though, that I've seen for a final boss, though, in this series. Like, it's not just death, it's petrification, and if you don't have somebody with a ribbon on going into this final battle, you are fucked. Like, I don't think any other final boss in the series has that instant loss consideration. Well, it just happened there, and we saw that Exdeath kept casting whatever that spell was. I can't remember, like, whatever it was. He kept casting it on Krill, so, like, he'll keep doing it. Ah, yes, the Bleached Anus. Thank you, Clint. Can you imagine the triumph that this stream would have been, though, if I'd got into the final boss and done it first time? Ah, yes, the Strength Boner. The return of the Strength Boner straight into the heart of the Bleached Anus. Probably not, no. Maybe. I love the fact that you could just straight up leave, though. So now that will reset the autosave, so if we die again, we won't have to watch the cutscene. Here we go. And shell. And flare back on. Hey, what if you got hit with 4 flare blades? Weak. Goodbye, Exdeath. But yeah, I do like it as a thing of, like, the game requires you to walk into Exdeath to initiate the final battle. So it makes you aware that you can move, and you could just straight up turn around and go back to the save point before this final battle. I do think that's a good idea. Here we go. Oh, did that come out of its butt? Did it just use wind magic out of its butt? Do I still have Flare Blade on? Yes. Good, keep it. Grand Cross! Oh no, I'm old now. Here we go. Delta attack has never been good for me. Fortunately, I have a ribbon on to deal with most of its effects. How crazy is it, just generally, that the final boss can cast the spell, but only on one target at a time? Not enough material slots for Mega Roll. Like, bear in mind, this comes from the point in history where these final bosses are just generally, like, the worst goddamn thing. Like, I'm never going to turn around and tell you that Kefka as a final boss isn't kind of bullshit. And here's Neo Exdeath with the spell on a single target. Like, hell, aside from White Hole, this hasn't been a particularly dangerous fight. Oh, no, there it is. Rail has a ribbon on. You see, there's the real issue. We just got it there. That Grand Cross can cast Zombie. And that it seems to affect characters who have ribbons. Instant death, petrification, toad, poison, darkness, old, berserk, and silence. It doesn't protect against zombie, and this is why zombie will always be bullshit. See, I was talking shit and now he started getting serious. Yep, there it is. End this. I was really hoping we'd get that before Doom hit Lana. Goodbye, Neo Exdeath. That's a really nice effect. I like that. Now, Necron? In the beginning, there was only the void. But from the void came four essences. They formed the crystals, and the world was born. Hope blessed the earth, courage blessed with flame. Devotion turned water into the seeds of life. Passion for knowledge spread wisdom on the winds. If ever the void threatens to engulf the world, so long as the four essences still exist in mankind, light will be born anew. It is from the void that the four essences will rise, and once again will shine bright. Hope, bless the earth. Courage, light the fires. Devotion, breathe life into the waters. Passion, spread knowledge on the winds. You think we get to keep the abilities that we learned now that the crystals go back? It's a really good thing that they gave us that weird little text descriptor there to tell us that so long as the essence of the crystals exists in people, the crystals will return. Otherwise, this would feel like it came out of nowhere. I do like the idea, though, here of, with the worlds having merged now, the new locations of the crystals. Well, you say that, but we only saw 3 crystals return. King Tycoon? Yeah. So it's like, okay, so Bart's is like, oh, hey, Dad. Brilla's like, Grandpa. And Faris and Lena are like, Father. And then Bart's is like, oh, yeah, we probably shouldn't leave the other 2 out. So he's also like, Zizat, Helga, we also appreciate you being here. Oh my god, is that Hiryu? Is Hiryu also reborn? Is it a good thing I never used the Phoenix summon? Yeah, I think it's kind of fascinating that the crystals are reborn, not in their shrines, which presumably still exist. We saw 2 of them. Like, we went back to the shrine at Waltz, which had sunk under the water, and we did dip into the wind shrine, but didn't climb it. So those shrines still exist, but the crystals have been reborn in the locations of the sealed tablets. Don't worry, Ali. The credits music is coming. But why does Faris have to wear a dress and Lena doesn't? Don't they have an heir to the throne? Like, isn't Krill literally the granddaughter of the former king? Oh, she's a girl. Yeah, but like Tycoon has 2 princesses ruling it. Well, at least that means there isn't just like one chocobo left. You know, like there's one Windrake left. Or are they figureheads? I don't know, like given how obsessed the Chancellor was in getting them back. There you go, running Tycoon. Yeah, what about Guido? Yeah, remember that time I killed Kalga? Remember that time I found out Faris was actually a woman? Remember that time somebody shot Lena? Remember like 5 minutes after that when Lena poisoned herself? Remember that time when Lena found out Faris was actually her long-lost sister? Remember when Faris was revealed to be Lena's long-lost sister and also a princess? Remember that time Sildra died? Remember that time when we suspected that Faris was a woman? Oh Oh no, that's the point we found out whether Faris was a woman. We just suspected before that and didn't really talk about it. Remember when Krill took possession of her grandfather's power? Remember when Krill and Chrono went out on an adventure? Remember when Krill turned up out of nowhere and saved us from Exdeath? The Guardian Tree. Remember when Galuf thought he might get left behind? Remember when Galuf commandeered the Windrake to save us from Exdeath Castle? Remember when Galuf gave everything to save us? Why are we in the tree, though? Those birds just shit out flowers. That's right, I hear it too. Final Fantasy main theme. What a good game. What an absolute banger of a game. Like it's not fair that Krill still has a Windrake and Lena doesn't. Final Fantasy V. What is there to say about this game? It is absolutely worth your time. It's fantastic. It is truly the underrated installment of the Super Nintendo trilogy. No, I think they're all friends. They're all nice people to each other, Clem. Your feelings being validated. Did I at any point ever say this was worse than anything else? Final Fantasy V's always been a good game, and I've always said it is. I've never been like, let me play Final Fantasy V on stream so I can reaffirm that it's good. I'm always like, no, Final Fantasy V is great. I'm glad that it's widely available now. Like, with the Pixel remaster being on, I think, everything except Xbox. If you go into it, like, after Final Fantasy IV, expecting more like Final Fantasy IV, that's your problem. Like, or after 6, you expect it to be this big, storied powerhouse. Like, it's not. It's about your experience. More so than the story that's being told. The story's fine. Like, the story is very engaging, and I love the characters. Like, I think it says a lot that one of the most popular characters in the series comes from this game. Gilgamesh. The characters are all just great. And it being a little more lighthearted, a little more willing to make a little bit of fun of itself, is what makes Final Fantasy V story so appealing in comparison with 4 and 6. The job system, I think this is where the job system really hit its stride. Like, having the choice of classes in Final Fantasy 1 was cool, but you were stuck in those classes. Final Fantasy 3 letting you change them was cool. But it came with like, too many caveats, too many situations where you were clearly intended to have a specific setup. The way job points work, the way switching between classes works in that game. 5 is the culmination, the refinement, arguably the perfection of the idea, and it is great to play. The amount of things you can do with it. And like we saw at the end, like even without doing a lot of level grinding to get higher and higher stats, smart use of your jobs can make the game a lot easier for you. And you can approach so much in so many different ways as a result. And like I said, I think it makes the game so much more replayable than 4. And to an extent 6. Like 6 is more replayable than 4, I think, because of the variety you can have. I think 5 is probably more replayable than 6 because of the variety you can have, the different ways you can approach things. In that sense. Because the characters don't matter to battles, it's the way you set them up. This is definitely one of my top 5 Final Fantasies. And I think personally, like, I could personally potentially put this above 9. Like, personally is the very big thing to listen to in that regard. But I could probably put this above 9 in my list of favourites. Like, 7's always going to sit at the top for so many reasons. It was my first real RPG. There's so much nostalgia tied to it. I love going through it. But 5 could be second. And then, of course, like the other ones, like 6 would be in there. 9 would be in there, probably 10. But regardless of anything, all 5 of them are games worth playing, and Final Fantasy V is, like I said when we started this game, it's absolutely worth your time. People are so focused on like which is the best experience in any sense, and I feel like that's always the wrong way to approach these. Like, Final Fantasy VI is worth your time, 7's worth your time, 9 is worth your time, 10 is worth your time, 8 can be a bit of a struggle, but I think overall 8 is worth your time. Final Fantasy V is absolutely worth playing through if you are a JRPG fan. I think the big caveat with it, and the reason that a lot of people don't give it as much credit as 6, is 6 is really engaging thanks to its story. Like, 6 really sucks you in with its story. With 5, you have to enjoy the game. You have to be there for the battles, for the exploration, for the customization, the experimentation. You have to be there for the game. And I feel like that's where a lot of people are let down with 5. Because they realise that they're just not as interested in playing the game as they are in experiencing the story. I think that's ultimately why people don't rate Final Fantasy V as high, because they realize they're just not as interested in the actual meat of the game. Whereas 6, like I say, 6 has that really compelling story. And I think like 6 and Chrono Trigger are held up so highly because of that, because their stories are so engaging in that sense, and they move along at such a brisk pace. And I think 5 being a little slower with its story not being as serious, is probably why people don't enjoy it as much. Especially in the modern day, because by the time a lot of people got access to Final Fantasy V in the West, we had so much more that was focused on story in that regard. And so to truly appreciate this game to the potential that it has, you have to enjoy just playing through a classic JRPG for the sake of playing a classic JRPG. This stream ended up being a lot shorter than I expected it to be. But that's another Final Fantasy down. That means we've done 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13. I've still not finished 10. I need to do off-string grinding for 10. Which is, it's frustrating because, like, I'm literally just at the final boss. That's the only thing. But I'll do it. I'll come back at some point and we'll wrap up 10. But with Final Fantasy V over, that means we're going back to something not a JRPG. Following Final Fantasy V, the next game for the year of RPGs will be Ys 1 and 2 Chronicles Plus for the PC, which is the remake. It's the remake compilation of Ys 1 and 2 Ancient East Vanished, which the original release of that is older than this. They're one of the oldest original games we've played, though we will be playing a more modern remake of it. And I think, like, a lot of you guys will be really interested in the actual kind of game. More of an action RPG. But while the later games in the series are, like, super high focus and intense, this one's a little different. And even its remakes have retained its original style of combat, which feels odd and clunky, but once you get into it, it's actually really intuitive. And I really enjoy it. If we have any issues with the PC release, I will just immediately switch us to the PSP version, which is what I originally played anyway. Yeah, like, Shooting Time will continue on, I believe, Sunday, with more Bioshock, and the History of Stylish Action will continue on Sunday with Devil May Cry 2. But yeah, I hope everybody's enjoyed Final Fantasy V. I've greatly enjoyed Final Fantasy V. This has been a lot of fun to play. And I suppose, like, the big question at the end, like, the big thing at the end of all these games is, like, will I recommend these games? And I feel like if you need that question to be answered outright, then you've not been paying attention. But the answer is yes, I do wholeheartedly recommend Final Fantasy V. And the Pixel Remaster is a great way of playing it. If you struggle with the grinding, if you have no interest in doing an extensive amount of grinding, there are the boosters you can use, which we saw earlier on when I was like, what is this in the options menu? Those didn't originally exist in the Pixel Remaster. Those were added when the console releases happened. But yeah, you can boost the experience you get from battle, the APB you get from battle, and the gil you get from battle, which will make it more accessible to a modern audience that doesn't have as much time. Which is fine, because all it really does is, like, I'm not against that as a concept. All it really does is reduce the amount of time you're spending doing the same thing over and over. Do I hate grind? No. I grew up with grind. A big Shin Megami Tensei fan, I'm used to the grind. But if the grind can be quicker, that's not a bad thing. And I will never say that it's a bad thing. I think removing grind entirely removes a key aspect of what RPGs used to be. And in the case of this, it is what this game was. But reducing the grind, I do think is a quality of life improvement. So yeah, I would absolutely recommend the Pixel remaster. But if you are a retro gamer or you play a lot on emulation, I would say Final Fantasy V Advance is absolutely a fine way to play this game. Absolutely fine way to play this game. The last time I played through this game was on Final Fantasy V Advance. And Klim played through this on stream with the Super Nintendo version with the fan translation, and he greatly enjoyed that. I think overall, like, the Super Nintendo release with the fan translation, the Super Nintendo release with, like, one of several patches that you can get for it, like, there's the fan translation, there's the version that replaces all the text with the GBA script, GBA's localization, which is also a good way to play it. Like, I don't think there's necessarily a bad way to play Final Fantasy V, except for the PlayStation version. Like, avoid that one. Even the old mobile ports, which you can't get anymore, aren't really a bad way to play the game. They've got the GBA script, they've got auto battle, they have the GBA extras. Like, they're not overly pretty to look at, but they're a fine way to play the game. You can't buy them anymore, so it's a moot point if you didn't already have them. Yeah, I also have the PS1 version. It was the first version I ever played. Because I have Final Fantasy Anthology, which for Europe was Final Fantasy 4 and 5. I do recommend playing any other version of it. At the end of the day, it is still Final Fantasy V. If you have no other way of playing it, it's still Final Fantasy V. But you should try and play another version of it. And in this day and age, like, you can emulate the Super Nintendo version, you can emulate the GBA version. If you can't afford to purchase the Pixel remaster, you can emulate. And it's like, oh, but what if I don't have a system powerful enough? Like, you don't have a system powerful enough to just emulate Super Nintendo? That doesn't sound right. Like, your phone can emulate Super Nintendo. Oh, but my phone's 10 years old. Yes, your 10-year-old phone can emulate Super Nintendo. Final Fantasy V. Absolutely worth every minute. So much fun. I think if you want the simplest emulation experience, like without messing around with fan patches and translations and stuff, the GBA version is easy enough to just pick up and go through. I think it doesn't look as nice on a bigger screen because it's meant for the GBA screen. But like, it's the simplest way of just playing the game. But yeah, Final Fantasy V, worth the time, worth the effort, worth the experience. So yeah, once again, East 1 and 2 to come next in the year of RPGs. Daylight Shooting Time will continue with more Bioshock, and the History of Stylish Action continues with Devil May Cry 2. That is it for Final Fantasy V. I want to thank everybody for joining the stream. I always really appreciate the support. Big special thank you to everybody in the chat. Chat is always the best part of the stream. Lynn, Star, Ali, thank you so much for joining me and keeping the company. Chat is always the best part of the stream. The next stream, I believe, is going to be probably Bioshock on Sunday. Although that will depend on what time I get up. I am doing another overnight shift tomorrow. and then I'll need to like rework my sleep schedule again, which is always fucking. So I'll try to be available for Bioshock on Sunday, but if not, it will be the H2 Stylish Action on Sunday with Devil May Cry 2. Let's have one more sound alert for the stream. And with that, there's not really anything else to say except thank you all for watching. Icy, you've come in on the end as we're literally wrapping up. Thanks for jumping in, Icy. The ad is about to play, ID8. Thank you all for joining me. Have yourselves a fantastic time of day. And take care. We'll catch you next time, guys. Bye.